I want money. I want riches. I've suffered enough. This is too much now. My son and I will want money no matter what it takes. I am ready to do it for my child. Are you sure you want this money? Are you very sure? Yes, I am sure. And you are ready to accept the condition attached? Yes, I'm ready. I just want wealth. Once upon a time, in the city of Massacre, there lived a woman named Choma and her child John. She tried to make ends meet by selling fruits and vegetables by the roadside. Life was hard and she barely made enough money to feed her child. Choma was a struggling single mother. She was constantly mocked by her in-laws, especially after the death of her husband. Her husband's brother seized all her properties, so she was staying in an uncompleted building which she begged the owner to stay for some time, till when he is ready to make use of the building. So Choma has been staying there with her son. One night, it rained very heavily. Choma was inside the house with rain coming into it from the window. She used nylon to cover, and her child was crying from hunger. She was so confused and didn't know what to do. With tears in her eyes, Choma whispered a prayer. God, I have really suffered in this life. When are you going to help me? Because this is too much. Please help me. I'll do anything to make money and bring my child out of poverty. She cried all through with the rain and cold, dealing with them, likewise the hunger. After that night incident, it didn't take long before something happened. One very hot afternoon, Choma sat under the scorching sun with her child. The heat was unbearable and there was no shade to protect them because she didn't have an umbrella or a shade to stay. As she tried to remove the sweat from her forehead, a beautiful woman in an expensive gown with long Brazilian hair that touched her waistline approached her. She paused for a moment. After walking past Choma, she looked back and saw the poor woman and her child struggling under the harsh sun. She felt pity for her as she turned around, walked back to Choma and bought all the fruit and vegetables she was selling. She also dashed her some money. The woman then asked, "Why are you here under this hot sun with your child?" Choma sighed deeply. Life has really been difficult. I barely feed with my child, and my in-laws collected everything, and I don't have a pin. I have been staying in an uncompleted building with my child. My husband died and left us to suffer in this world. I'm just trying to survive. The woman nodded slowly and reached into her purse. She gave Choma a complimentary card and that had no name on it, just an address to a strange location and a time. If you want to stop suffering and you want your life to change, come to this address by 11 p.m. tonight. Come with a strand of your hair and your photo. That night, Choma wore her best clothes, leaving her child lying on the cement bag she spread on the floor, which they do sleep on. When she arrived, the same woman was waiting. Choma presented the strand of hair and the photo just as instructed. Without saying a word, the woman took the items and dropped them into a clay pot filled with fire. The pot blazed brightly and then died down. The woman turned to Choma and said, "From today, your life has changed. Go into the next room. You will see a bale of shoes. They are trending shoes for both children and adults. Use them to start a new business. You will be selling shoes from now on." Choma entered the next room. It was like a large storage room, a warehouse, packed to the brim with shoes in bales. She was confused at first how this woman made a huge storage with this number of shoes to sell. So she turned to her and eagerly asked, "Do you buy these shoes in large containers from China?" "Well, no," the woman replied. "These shoes are specially manufactured by us in this kingdom. You have to be a member to sell it. It's not like every other shoes you see in the market. Do not buy from any other shoe vendor. Once you are done selling these first sets, come to me. I will give you another set for free. You don't need to pay a dime to get it. Just become a member." Choma shouted with a heart full of doubts and fear, but she really wanted wealth. "Yes, I am ready to be your member. I can do anything." Choma's mouth dropped open in surprise and she asked, "But why, ma? They look expensive, and still I won't be paying for it." "Yes, you won't pay, and these shoes will give us what we want. It will bring us money and power, and it will make us twice as rich than we can profit for selling it directly. But for you not to be suspected, you have to sell yours just like other vendors or keep the money. It's yours. And lastly, do not wear the shoes or let any of your child wear them." At first, Choma was scared and confused, yes, desperate to make money and come out of the poverty with her son. She nodded. She laughed and used the money she had saved from her vegetable sales earlier to rent a small store in Nyanya Market. She started selling the beautiful and trending shoes to both children and adults in different colors and styles. At first, to attract customers, she enchanted the shoes so that whoever wore them experienced good luck, just as she was instructed earlier. Some people got jobs interview, some passed their visa application, and many found rich suitors or got engaged soon after, while children became brighter in school. Word spread quickly that Choma's shoe brought good luck. Her store became the most popular in the market. People rushed to buy from her, even those who doesn't need a new shoe, and her business grew rapidly. But there was a hidden danger. These enchanted shoes brought good luck only for the first 4 months. After that, things began to go wrong. The same people who had gotten jobs were fired. Newly married couples couldn't get pregnant, and the pregnant ones suffered from miscarriage after miscarriage. Some, their home became a war zone, and the children were not left out as they became very, very dull in school. Some started falling sick with no medical explanation, and many began to have disturbing nightmares, dreams of being chased by masquerade. Unknown to them, Choma was draining their essence through the shoe. Their beauty, health, wealth, knowledge, and success were being siphoned into her own life. She became richer, bought new cars, sent her child to the best school, and lived a flamboyant lifestyle. The worst part was that her victim couldn't trace the misfortune to the shoes because everything started so well. They suspected everything, but not the shoe they wore daily. No, they didn't suspect it. This continued for years, and Choma became much more richer. She had to rent a new shop, a bigger one, in Maraba, which was now very, very popular. The misfortune behind the shoes continued for years until a woman named Amarachi bought the shoes from Onuchi. Amarachi was the wife of a powerful pastor. She had just gotten married and was a month pregnant. She visited a market to purchase new shoes. She stumbled upon Choma's store and without knowing anything bought the cursed shoe. At first, everything seemed fine. After 4 months, she suffered a miscarriage, then another and another. It kept repeating itself. Night after night, she dreamt of masquerade chasing her. Her health deteriorated and she began to lose weight. Yet, every hospital she visited told her she was perfectly healthy. Frustrated and broken, she called her husband to inform him of the occurrence in her life, since he wasn't around due to his pastoral duty. After praying for her on the phone, her husband told her, "There's a shoe you bought that is draining your life. Pack all the shoes you just recently bought. I am coming." She did as he instructed. Her husband arrived home after some hours and took the shoes from Choma's store, prayed over it and poured anointing oil on it. It turned to ashes instantly. Amarachi screamed and nearly ran out of the house. "What kind of demonic shoe is this?" she cried. Her husband was very, very angry and said to her, "Take me to where you bought these shoes, which I believe that you are not the only one she might have sold it to." Amarachi took her husband to Nyanya market. When they arrived, Choma was there calling out customers, smiling and shining her teeth like a roasted goat and selling more shoes to unsuspecting customers. When Choma saw them, she greeted them in pidgin. "My customers, oh, welcome, oh. You won't buy shoes? I get new shoes and you will like and wear well. Oga, see this one now. You go fit this your wife, oh." The pastor replied in a stern voice, "Where do you get these evil shoes? Why are you ruining the lives of people that patronize you? Why are you collecting their destiny?" Choma was so angry and her face just changed. She shouted, "Who be this one, safe? Better leave this place if you don't want to buy anything. Fake pastor. Now so na go dey spoil market for people as if I send you to come interview me. Mumu man." She mocked him, but deep down she was shaking. Her shout attracted the attention of people. People around began to gather, listening to the drama. The pastor poured out his anointing oil and prayed. Then he sprinkled the oil on the shoe Choma was selling. Immediately, the entire shoes in the shop turned to ashes. Choma screamed and fell to the ground. People were shocked. Someone shouted, "Bring tire, bring fuel, oh, let's burn her. This woman a better witch." But before they could act, Choma vanished right there. No one saw where she went to. She disappeared into thin air. Panic erupted in the market and people ran in different directions. Amarachi and her husband left immediately. Choma reappeared inside her room. She laughed bitterly. "Those people think say they fit destroy me, abi. After all my poverty what I don't go through, they think say na they go fit use me, abi they go do me anything. Never. They don't know who they are dealing with." At 3 a.m., she packed her bags and that of her son and left where she was staying. She woke the boy up, didn't even let them bathe, and drove out of Nasarawa. She headed to Lugbe. There she opened another shop and continued her evil trade. One day, a woman came into her store to buy shoes for her daughter and noticed something unusual. She was a spiritualist and immediately she grabbed her, shouting, "Witch, witch, witch! This woman is a witch!" Just as they were about to beat her and strip her naked, she vanished again. She reappeared in her room. Her son was playing at home. Immediately she grabbed him again. There and then she packed her things and left to Boare. She waited a month before opening another shop. But karma has a way of hitting hard and loud, At this time, it was from within her own blood. One day, her son returned home from school that morning because he mistakenly entered a pit and his shoe was dirty. So he rushed home to change. Since he could not see anyone, he quickly had to pick one from his mother's corner. Even though Choma had warned her son never to touch or wear any shoe from the shop, she told her son that the shoes were too expensive and that giving them out would ruin her profits. John believed her, not knowing the real reason behind his mother's warning. He hurried up and wore the shoe so as to go back to school. John started wearing the shoe to school when his mother left for work, even more than he should have. In the first few weeks, everything seems perfect. He became the shining star in his class and his grade improved. Teachers praised his work and he felt more confident than ever. It was as if the shoe carried a special energy, he thought, or maybe it was just luck, or maybe his mother's prayer were finally working. But after 4 months, things began to change. The nightmare started slowly. He was chased by masquerade, and some nights he saw himself being tied to a tree while shadowy figure flogged him, laughing and also whispering curses. During the day, he was usually weak. His classmates noticed his sudden quietness in school. He was always tired, forgetful, and barely concentrate in class. Choma was so busy with her store to even notice the changes in her son. Then one morning, John collapsed in the school bathroom. The school nurse was called and John was rushed to the school clinic. When Choma was contacted, she drove down to the school immediately, confused and afraid. Her son, once full of life, was now lying silently with hollow eyes and pale skin. Doctors ran tests, but every result came back normal. Madam, this your son is fine. Oh. From our test conducted, there's nothing wrong with him, the doctor said. But Choma knew better. She had seen this pattern before in her victim. Within a week, her son's legs started getting bigger, and Choma was very scared and did not know what to do. She took John home, hoping he would recover with rest, but the condition only worsened. John stopped talking, he couldn't walk, and he hardly eat. Choma took her son to different herbalists, prayer house, and private hospital, yet nothing changed. Instead, the legs kept getting bigger. One night, while sitting alone in the living room, a thought flashed to her mind. Could he have taken one of these shoes, which I asked him not to? She jumped up from the couch and rushed into John's room. Her heart was pounding. She checked through John's wardrobe, throwing the clothes on the floor. Then she saw the shoe. It was the exact one Choma has in the shop. She held it in her hands, trembling. Her stomach turned. Tears filled her eyes. She had warned her son. She has always made sure John never touched those shoes or wear them. She bought shoes from other vendors so John wouldn't carry the cursed shoe she sells. But this one has slipped through. She was scared and confused. She drove to see the beautiful woman who had supplied her the shoes that she sold. Why is my son sick? She cried. I've done everything you asked for. Why didn't you protect him? The woman looked up from the wall she was gazing into and let out a cold, evil laugh. Ha 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 ha. There's never been an exception, she said. Not even you. Anyone who wears the shoe pays the price. Your son is not excluded. Choma dropped to her knees. Please, I'll give up the world. I'll burn everything. I'll confess. Just save my child. The woman turned her back on her. You were warned and you accepted the terms. This is the cost and there's nothing that can be done. Just carry your cross. Choma was so heartbroken. She wept and did not know what to do. She drove home in silence. Her tears was uncontrollable. She sat by her son's bed all night, praying, crying, and holding his hands at dawn. At dawn, she made up her mind, I'll take him to church. I think that's the best thing. Even if they kill me, dear God, please let them have mercy on my son. By morning, she went inside to prepare the son so she can carry him to church, even though he was so heavy due to the size of his legs. But as she carried him outside to put in the car, she called his name, but there was no response. John's body was still, and his hands were cold. He was gone. Choma screamed so loud, the neighbors came running, but it was too late. Her only son, her jewel and pride, has died. That day, she gathered every shoe left in her shop and burnt it. As the flame rose, she fell on her knee, crying and praying. That same evening, she walked into a church, knelt at the altar, and confessed everything before the members. Other crowd began to gather because she has revealed her secret, but she didn't care. She has lost what mattered most to her, which is her son. Choma's confession spread like wildfire. The next Sunday, the church was filled. Some came out of curiosity. Others came to hear the truth from the mouth of the woman who has ruined so many lives. She stood there before the congregation, trembling, but she has to say the truth. Her voice cracked as she began. I was desperate. I was a widow with nothing. And one day, a very strange woman came, gave me a card. She promised to change my life, and I accepted. I sold my soul. Noises were heard in the church hall, but the pastor raised his hand to silence them. Choma continued. I began selling. I sold enchanted shoes, and every time anybody wore them, their blessings came to me, their favor, their wealth, everything. I got richer, younger, and stronger, but it came at a price. And now, my son, my only child, is gone. Tears flow freely from her eyes as she fell on her knee before the altar. God, please forgive me. I didn't know it would go this far. I just wanted a better life for myself and my son. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. The pastor laid his hands on her, and the whole congregation burst in prayer. Others just stood frozen, realizing that the evil could hide in the most ordinary places like a shoe store in an open market. Choma began to attend church regularly. She started living a quiet life. She gave out food to the poor and also advised women not to be so desperate. She joined the women's fellowship and shared her story every chance she got. But the woman that gave her all the evil riches was watching in the spiritual realm. She was very, very angry that she has lost one of her members. She has given Choma power and a return expected loyalty. She has warned her that no one was exempted from her hidden shrine. She sat in front of a black pot filled with smoke. Inside it, she saw Choma kneeling at the church altar, praying. She spat on the floor. Ungrateful woman, you will regret turning your back at me. The woman lifted a small jar filled with blood and whispered dark enchantment. Her finger twisted unnaturally as the air around her grew thick. She tried to summon the spirit to attack Choma, but nothing happened. The spirits, once obedient, refused to move. The woman's face changed. She repeated again. Still nothing happened. Her hands started to shake. She looked into the black smoke and saw something terrifying. A bright white dove was covering Choma. The protection of repentance. The woman screamed in rage. She threw the jar to the floor and it scattered. Then thunder cracked above the shrine and the wall trembled. A white flash filled the sky over the shrine. Lightning struck. The roof of the shrine burst into flame. Her idols melted and her pot cracked into two. The woman stood up, trying to run, but her feet were stuck. She screamed, but no sound came out. Then lightning struck her. Her body fell to the ground, lifeless, as smoke rose from her shrine. Back in the physical world, Choma was sitting quietly in her church during evening prayer when she suddenly felt a weight being lifted from her. She has been judged. Former Choma wept, but this time with relief. That night, she dreamt of her son. He stood at the edge of a field with flowers, smiling. He didn't speak, but his eyes glowed with peace. When Choma woke up, she felt something shift inside her. She wasn't the same woman who danced in her room with ill-gotten wealth. She was now a woman saved by mercy. Weeks passed and Choma's story became a warning. Churches preached about her. Mothers told their daughters to be careful where they buy shoes. People started losing trust in shoe vendors, and many of them were forced to show proof of their sources. Choma started a foodstuff business. She started from square one. She didn't mind, but her heart was finally at peace. Yet, she never forgot her son. Every year, she lit a small candle and prayed by her son's picture. She would whisper, "I miss you, but I will make you proud." So the moral lesson from the story is that we should be very prayerful with things we buy, because the heart of man is desperately wicked. Thank you for watching this story. I hope you learned something valuable. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until I bring you another interesting story. Bye-bye.